Welcome to episode 48 of the MMG podcast. I am Chris, and I'm joined once again by my good friend Go Cubs 711.
Do you ever start talking to a person and then just get the vibe from them that they're the type of person who would say that Die Hard is their favorite Christmas movie?
No, I don't think I've gotten that vibe from someone, but can you describe it for me?
It's a usually masculine person who likes to be contrarian about everything. So we picked the action movie Die Hard, which takes place on Christmas Day, as their favorite Christmas movie to be quote unquote cool.
So a hipster essentially.
No, it's different type of person.
Okay.
Hipster would probably choose something that you've never heard about.
Oh, I see.
You've heard of Die Hard, but like it's trying to be like edgy and masculine, so this like action movie is their favorite Christmas movie, not like It's a Wonderful Life or anything that
or
is
Elf,
actually.
you know. I think Elf is very masculine. I mean, come on.
Yeah, just look at those tights.
Exactly. Come on. Tights are masculine. Circa the MMG podcast. Anyways, I don't know if that.
We record every episode in tights, and there's nothing any of you can do to prove that wrong.
Exactly, that's true. You cannot see what pants we're currently wearing, so you never know.
I might not even be wearing pants.
Right.
I am wearing pants.
Yeah, me too. All right. Welcome, welcome everyone. So, welcome to week 17, everyone. This is it. This is the regular season finale, our pick finale, really, in terms of our regular season competition. The Team Chaos finale, the Guarantee finale. It's all coming to an end, and it's, of course, this finale for 20 teams on Sunday, as the other 12 will be moving on to January.
Playing January.
To compete. It's gonna be a fun postseason, but to get there, everyone's got to play one more game, whether it's meaningful, like for the Ravens and the Colts and even the Chiefs and Patriots, and it's still meaningful, or you're resting players like the Cowboys or maybe the Saints. The Saints haven't really announced that they're resting players or not.
No.
But you know, everyone's gonna have to play this week, and it'll be interesting to see who shows up and shows out, and who will fade away into the darkness and abyss that 2018 comes to a close. So before we get to that, I kind of want to go through the Week 16 slate quickly, because we got a lot to talk about in terms of scenarios and stuff. And so we're gonna start with our game of the week, and it's Steelers. By the way, Go Cubs, how are you today? I feel like I haven't really. I know we talked about tights earlier, but how are you? Are you doing good?
I'm good.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. You're quiet for most of the intro, so I wanted to just check it on you.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Game of the week: Steelers at Saints. And it was a fun game. It kind of, once again, it was one of those games that, was marred with controversy with the reffing and stuff. But the Steelers showed up and they played well, and it seemed like their offense was doing well against a run defense that's been tough to play against all season. But the Saints, they got the last word, and they were the ones that ended up coming in on top. And they have officially locked up the 1 seed in the NFC, and everyone must go through the Superdome in order to win the Super Bowl, or to get to the Super Bowl at least.
Yes.
So it's essentially how it's going to work for the NFC team. You have to go through the Superdome, and then you finish in the Georgia Dome, or it's no longer called the Georgia Dome, but
Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Georgia Dome is no more.
Yeah, that went away. But
placed by Chick-fil-A that cannot be partaken in. Unless Atlanta has a Thursday or Monday night home game.
Chick-fil-A needs to put aside its religious beliefs for Super Bowl Sunday. I mean, come on. The no, I'm kidding.
You wonder why you don't see any like Chick-fil-A Super Bowl catering commercials, and why they target college football.
That's true.
Because NFL's on Sunday, dude.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A just dominates. I'm pretty sure every single lineup, talking about the lineups, is always Chick-fil-A. It's weird.
Yeah.
On every channel. But yeah, so the Saints, they're in good position now. The Steelers, they're in a tough spot because they go into next week now, and even though they got the big win against the Patriots, losing this game hurts them because not only do they have to win in order to be in the playoffs, but they have to hope and pray that their biggest rival, the Cleveland Browns, has to win against the Baltimore Ravens.
Against the former Cleveland Browns.
That's right.
And that's gonna be a big game for both teams for multiple reasons, but we'll get into that when we get there.
Yeah, it's an insanely big game, and so the poor Steelers have to be casted aside. Might have to be casted aside in the offseason. When I say poor, I mean it's okay. You guys have had a lot of postseason stuff happening. You can take a break. It's okay.
You can rest.
You can rest. Yeah.
Just go home after you got beaten by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
The 2017 Jaguars, who were good.
Right.
And just sit down, reevaluate your player decisions, and which wide receiver you sent to the Pro Bowl. We'll get back to you.
Yeah. But another one note too before we move on. The Steelers. So like I said earlier, the officiating was the big question of the day, and I've already talked about this. I think that the only way that you're really going to change reffing in this league is if you're going to completely overhaul the system, which I'm not against. I think it's important to do that. And we should do that. And it was some really bad calls made on Sunday. But with that being said, the Steelers, who had a lead, and at one point got a stop, or were stopped rather, decided to go for a fake punt, which was obvious from the minute that the players lined up that they were going to go for a fake punt, and they completely blew it, even though the guys that supposedly thought they supposedly did the fake punt, they thought they got the first down, and they were really excited, even though the ref right next to them was saying, "Yeah, no, you guys are 2 yards short."
Yeah.
It was kind of embarrassing for them, but I think it goes to the core of you could have really bad luck against the officiating in a game, but at the end of the day, it's how you deal with those situations in the game and try to overcome those. And the Steelers, despite bad calls, still had a lead, and they blew it with that fake punt. I would say that's more of a reason why you lost than anything. So,
yeah,
you gotta, if anything, you gotta look at coaching. If any, I mean, I like Mike Tomlin as a coach, but that was not a smart decision on their part. They might as well have just kept the offense out there. But it's going to cost you, and we'll see how it ends up playing out this upcoming Sunday. As for our blowout of the week, we go to Arizona, where it seems, I think the Cardinals are making their 18th appearance on the blowout of the week list. In fact, this exact series was our week 2 blowout of the week, where the Rams completely destroyed the Cardinals.
Yeah, the Rams are back. Their offense showed what we all expected them to do.
Yeah.
Against the past 2 teams that they faced, but then failed to do because their offense, despite being dominating, is kind of one trick, and the defenses have started to figure it out. But thankfully, Arizona is bad, so the Rams got to look good.
Yeah.
For once.
And here's the big story I think for the Rams was they were without Todd Gurley, but they signed C.J. Anderson, who I always liked as a player. He
has saved me in fantasy many times in the past, so I really appreciate him as a person.
But he comes in, he comes off the street essentially, and plays his first game as the Ram, and he absolutely dominates. In fact, has the best game that a Rams running back had all season, which is kind of insane. And a lot of people use it as a talking point to say how you can really just find a running back anywhere, which fine. I do think that you do have.
Disagree.
Yeah, but... I do think that there are talented running backs throughout, but regardless, that you
the Cardinals do want to point that out.
Right, right.
But C.J. Anderson's success really helps the Rams, I think, because one, they have another running back tool that they can use, and two, they can rest Gurley,
right,
and potentially still win this last week, which I hope doesn't happen. But we'll see what happens there. But good on C.J. Anderson, good on the Rams for finding their groove again. Postseason should be interesting to see what they do when they start facing good teams again.
Yeah, Sean McVay has never.
The Eagles and Bears.
Yeah, Sean McVay has never dealt with a slump before, and this has really been like a 3-week slump for them. To come back in this game, perform the way they did is excellent. It's what they needed, even if it was against a bad team. And they should hope to get the bye, and they need that 2 weeks to kind of adjust and get set, and be firing on all cylinders. Because the Chiefs, even losing Kareem Hunt for them, their offense is still doing well. It's Patrick Mahomes. He's doing great. I mean, the running game is lacking a bit, but the offense generally is still running well. The Rams' offense, and Jared Goff specifically, has not been running well. So they want to be able to. They need to be able to. They don't need to go into the postseason too strong, as long as they win the games that they need at the end, like the Niners. But they need to be able to get ready to face a tough opponent in Los Angeles, because the home field advantage is still not completely there for them. They need the firepower. As for our team chaos of the week, it was in Seattle.
It was my team chaos.
Yes, it was a good way to secure a winning record for Team Chaos.
It was
this year. And the Chiefs went to Seattle and faced the Seahawks, and really it was a close game throughout, but the Seahawks, their defense and just the loud stadium really just were huge factors in a victory for this team. And Russell Wilson kept on doing his magic. And his receivers are starting. I mean, Doug Baldwin being there and being present is always helpful for them. Yeah. But his weapons are doing well right now. Yeah, Tyler Lockett, and the run game is getting better for them. Like, the Seahawks are a good team, and it's gonna be fun to see them in the playoffs. I think that they could compete with anyone. I think this was a clear indication that they could do that. Now, are they different at home than they are on the road? Yes. So they're gonna probably have to play all road games throughout the rest of the rest of the season, for the most part, outside of this week, because I think they play at home against the Cardinals. But for the remainder of it all, they just need to be able to channel the team that plays in this kind of atmosphere every single week, and hopefully it'll get them far. And I don't think the Chiefs need to be too worried. They have a really easy task to lock up the number 1 seed this week. But you always have to worry about like the defense with the Chiefs, and you have to hope that they are able to keep. They need home field advantage, and they need to be able to be like put the Arrowhead. That everyone needs to go through Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Of course, break the curse in the postseason, for sure. But any thoughts on this game for you, Go Cubs?
You basically summed it up pretty well. The Chiefs, I think, are still a great team. They were my Week 9 Super Bowl runner-up.
Yeah.
um, but still making the Super Bowl. And I think that they have an easy enough chance this week that they can lock up the number one seed. They just theirs is they just win and they're in, right?
Yeah,
And they
yes,
get
correct.
number one. Yeah.
Yep.
So they have an easy enough time to do that. I shouldn't necessarily say that given what Oakland uh just did to Denver.
Yeah, well,
But it's the Denver isn't that great.
Denver
So
is not good.
we'll see what happens this week, but I think the Chiefs will be okay in that regard.
What about your most surprising team?
My most surprising team this week was, if I can remember what I said,
The Eagles.
the Eagles. That's what I said. Nick Foles continues to prove that he is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz.
Ooh.
I'm kidding. Depends on what your definition of better is. Wentz has been dealing with a back issue that should have been caught sooner,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why he wasn't playing to his potential this whole year. But Nick Foles is able to still carry this offense. I would be shocked if he did not have a starting quarterback job next year.
He should. I think that it's very unlikely that he stays with the Eagles another year.
Yeah, just because teams really fucking need quarterbacks.
Right, and they need.
I can think of two or three off the top of my head.
Right.
That.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that he could probably go to. But the Eagles are in good hands. If Wentz, I don't know what the return time for Wentz is.
He should be back next year.
Yeah. Oh, he was placed on IR.
No, I mean the way that it sounds, according to the doctors that know about the fracture, it sounds like he's going to be out for the year. I think that they're trying to keep it they're trying to keep it a weekly basis thing because they.
Could be a morale thing.
Yeah, I think that they just want to hold out hope that maybe he could come back, but the way the injury is, it's not. It would be very unlikely for them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Mm.
But Nick Foles can still lead this team to the playoffs, and it's definitely possible that this team will be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that's the most likely thing right now.
Mm.
Is Eagles Bears matchup,
right,
in the postseason. And that's a little scary just because of how Nick Foles operates. But overall, I'm surprised that the Eagles are continuing to do well when I counted them out pretty early in the season.
Yeah, the thing is that the Eagles, Avante Maddox, who's the cornerback for them, has been playing really well. I think that's the secondary we thought was kind of gone, but he's been at least a shining star of that group. Now, the Eagles with Nick Foles, he broke franchise records for passing in that game against the Texans, and part of it was the Texans secondary themselves were injured, but it showed that there's something about with Doug Peterson and that coaching staff that I'm not trying. Whenever we say something like this, I don't want to take anything away from the player, because I think that Nick Foles has talent, and I think that if he's with the right group of people, that he can really perform well. I think with Foles, he can have really high ceilings, but also really low floors in terms of his way that he plays. So I think that that's why I credit Doug Peterson, because I just feel like when you're ever in these moments where you're low and you just don't know if you could end up pulling off these kind of miracle games, like a miracle run to the Super Bowl, that you're able to still have a quarterback that you're able to use and scheme around and have him look good and have the offense as a whole look good. And it's working for them. The front seven has stepped up in recent weeks as well. Their defense is not great right now, but it's good enough to at least keep them around. And I think that it's gonna be big thing to watch. I do think that they're going to end up getting in the playoffs, and they'll be a fun team to watch this January. I think just to see, even if they're only in it for one game, I think they're going to make things interesting. Because they're the reigning Super Bowl champions, and you never know what could happen. So yeah. What about your most disappointing team?
My are you not going to say you're surprising?
Oh, did I thought I said my most surprising.
No, I don't think you did.
Oh, okay. I'll go with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
And
I wanted to talk about these guys, and you hadn't said it yet.
Yeah, so. Right. It's true. My most surprising is the Baltimore Ravens, and it's just, I think that Lamar Jackson and this run-based offense is here to stay. I think a lot of people felt like it's not going to be sustainable for long periods of time, but it's working, and he's throwing the ball well. This is not like the offense is mainly running, but it's a very heavy part of it.
And Lamar Jackson is running very well,
and he's running very well. Right.
Since he took over the reins, he in that time period, he's had the 8th most rushing yards in the league.
Right, and Gus.
And his only loss has been to the Kansas City Chiefs, and it was barely a loss.
Right, they played very close, and Gus Edwards has also been doing well for the running game. So it's like the offense is looking well. It would be helpful if the receivers were better, but they're doing well, and the goal. Playing in the StubHub Center is not the scariest thing. In fact, you usually have your own fan base taking up a lot of the stadium. But to go to Los Angeles and beat the Chargers, who were rising, they beat the Chiefs, and they are almost could very well be still in the mix for the number 1 seed. All they have to do is beat Denver and then hope that Oakland can pull a miracle. The fact that you beat a team like that, it shows that the Ravens could probably be anyone in the AFC. And I've always seen the Ravens as a scary team, even in their non-playoff years. I think that this is going to be yet again where anything can happen with them. And I think that they're going to take care of business this upcoming week, and they'll ride into the playoffs, and they'll be one of the most fun teams to watch.
I 100% agree. I've been a Ravens fan for a while. I'm not sure why, them specifically, but they've always just been fun to root for, and I like I like a lot of their current players, especially their current starting new franchise quarterback.
Right.
Little bit of a bold statement, but I'll roll with it.
It's done. I mean, I think Joe Flacco is out of Baltimore.
He's out. I just meant how how long Lamar Jackson would stay.
Yeah, I think he'll at least be there for a few years. I think.
Yep, my most disappointing team was the
team that the Ravens beat.
Was the team that the Ravens beat the Chargers. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see much of this game, but LA, you need to do better than that. Look, you're facing the number 1 defense. I get that. You don't play any home games. I get that. But especially Phillip Rivers, who has been trying to put together an MVP campaign this year, which I think he could have if the Chargers were a little better. And I say that really strangely because the Chargers are one of the best teams in the league right now. But that was not a good performance from them.
Right.
You and I talked about this a bit, how this may actually be a blessing in disguise because the Chargers seem to always play better on the road than they do at home.
Right.
Or do in Los Angeles at least.
Yeah.
And that may help them because now they're going to be on the road the entire postseason.
Right.
Unless they win and Kansas City loses this week.
Yeah, and I think that, it's tough. Rivers had a really tough game, and some people, especially in the New York area, because they're like, if Eli had a game like that, he'd be roasted. I think that there's the difference between Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning. I think Rivers has a better legacy overall of playing in good games, or playing good games than Eli, except for maybe some good playoff runs from Eli. Whatever.
Yeah.
But Phillip Rivers, I think, he had a tough game, and it happens. I don't think it's the end of the world for the Chargers. They just have to adjust. Like you said, I do think that they've been among the most dominant teams on the road. And so I think that they have all the tools to play well in these upcoming games. I mean, I think Melvin Gordon was out in this game, unless I'm mistaken, or did he play?
I thought he was in.
Maybe.
Maybe. Even so, he may not have been full capacity. Injuries have been the bane of the Chargers' existence for the past couple years.
Yeah.
This year, especially on their running back and Keenan Allen front, hasn't been too kind to them.
Right.
So hopefully their offense can stay healthy going into the postseason.
Yeah. I think that Melvin Gordon and Keenan Allen, you just have to see how healthy they can get, and I think the Chargers, they could say, like, you know what, we accept our fate in terms of probably being the 5 seed, and they could maybe rest starters in this game. Not all starters, maybe put like a few of them out there, but certainly ones with injury, just to keep them healthy going in to the postseason. It would be important. I'm disappointed that they lost the game, but I think that they lost to a good team, so it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about them.
I'm gonna get more into a couple teams a little bit later in the podcast.
My most disappointing team, and I'm just dropping this here, Broncos. You gotta get a change of head coach, man. Like,
Vance Joseph isn't gonna be here next season, I don't think. That would be about as shocking as the Bengals keeping Marvin Lewis
again.
Yeah.
You know, the thing with the Broncos is that, like, they looked so uninspired in Oakland, and like in the second half they started to play kind of well even without Philip Lindsay, who unfortunately is going to have a 3 to 4 month recovery from a broken wrist.
Mm-hmm.
But it's insane to me how I get you're on the road, but you had the talent to be a playoff team this year, and then 3 weeks in a row you lost to the Niners, the Browns, and then the Raiders. It's been an abysmal finish, to the season for this team, and you just gotta feel like that change has to come from the top. Again, especially considering the talent, with the linebackers being as strong as they are. You know, the injuries obviously hurt them, no question about it, but I think it's much more about what's happening on top and the effort level that it seems that the players are putting in for this Broncos team at the moment. So
yeah,
it will be interesting to see what they do in the offseason.
They could have made the AFC West a fucking powerhouse of a division.
They could have to have three in there, but it's not going to happen in this one. All right. Let's go over the scenarios and potential matchups. Let's break it down. And so
okay.
You
want me to do?
You're gonna do scenarios. You break down all the scenarios here.
Okay, and then you're gonna do the matchups.
Yep.
Okay. As of now, the NFC 5 teams have clinched a playoff berth. The New Orleans Saints have clinched the NFC South as well as home field advantage throughout the playoffs. The Los Angeles Rams, Chicago Bears, and Dallas Cowboys have all clinched their respective divisions and will be the 2 through 4 seeds, with the Cowboys locked into the 4 seed. The Bears and Rams could switch. We will get into that. The Seattle Seahawks have also clinched a playoff berth, so they will be either the 5 or the 6 seed. The Los Angeles Rams will clinch a first-round bye if they win or Chicago loses. Conversely, Chicago will clinch a first-round bye if they win and the Rams lose.
Okay.
The Minnesota Vikings will clinch a playoff berth if they defeat Chicago or Philadelphia loses to Washington. And the Philadelphia Eagles will clinch a playoff berth, get in there if they win and Minnesota loses. So 5 out of the 6 playoff teams decided, with either the Vikings or Eagles joining them.
Correct.
In the AFC, much less stuff clinched, and it's going to be a wild last week with all the potential matchups that we have. The only division title claimed in the AFC is the Patriots claiming the AFC East, which seems surprising, but damn, the rest of the AFC sucks. AFC East sucks. Right. So, I'm not surprised. The Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers, and Houston Texans are the other teams who have right now clinched a playoff berth and are currently the top 4. Currently the top 4 teams. And yeah, like I said, the only ones who have clinched a playoff berth. Kansas City Chiefs will clinch the AFC West division title and home field advantage if they win, or if the Chargers lose and New England loses and Houston loses and a bunch of other things. They will clinch the AFC West division title and a first round bye if the Chargers and New England lose, and Houston loses. Basically, the Chargers losing is great if you're a Kansas City
fan.
Right. Or you can just win. That's the easiest. But as soon as the Chargers lose, Kansas City gets the division, is essentially what happens.
Right.
The New England Patriots will clinch home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs if they win and Kansas City and Los Angeles both lose. That is very unlikely, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll see.
So we won't get number 1 New England this year. They will also clinch a first round bye if they win, or if Baltimore, Houston, and Tennessee all lose.
Mm-hmm.
So first round bye New England. Houston Texans, they will clinch the AFC South if they win. If they win, or Indianapolis and Tennessee tie. And that's the only tie that I feel is relevant.
Right. I'm not even gonna factor in a tie.
Right. Yeah. But basically, they clinch the division title if they win. They will clinch the division title and a first round bye if they win and New England loses, or if they win and Kansas City and LA both lose. And then they will clinch the AFC South title and home field advantage to the AFC playoffs. That is still a thing that Houston can do if they win and New England, Kansas City, and LA all lose.
Mm-hmm.
And Houston has to get the tie and strength of victory over Kansas City.
Yes.
That is Houston. The Baltimore Ravens, they will clinch an AFC North division title and a first round bye. I still can't believe that they could do that. If they win, New England and Houston, if they win, New England and Houston lose, and Indianapolis and Tennessee does not end in a tie.
Right.
Which is a really specific thing. But
it's very specific.
Sure. They will just simply clinch the AFC North division if they win or Pittsburgh loses.
Mm-hmm.
They will clinch a playoff. Nope, that's a tie scenario. Not dealing with that.
This is
okay. Los Angeles Chargers, they will clinch the AFC West division title and home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs if they win and Kansas City loses. That is the only thing for them. LA can only be the 1 or the 5 seed. Same with Kansas City. Less scenarios for the Chargers, though. They're either AFC West champions and home field advantage, or they are number 5.
Yep.
Kansas City can be a few seeds.
Yes.
All right. The Indianapolis Colts, they can clinch the AFC South division title if they win and Houston loses, or they can just clinch the playoff berth if they. The Tennessee Titans can clinch the AFC South and a first round bye.
Yes.
If they win and Houston, New England, and Baltimore all lose.
Yes.
And then they will clinch the division if they win and Houston loses, and they will clinch the playoff berth just simply by winning. And lastly, the
poor Pittsburgh Steelers, will clinch their division title if they win and Baltimore loses. And they can also get in if they win and Indianapolis, Tennessee ties, which probably won't happen. But it's possible.
Yep. So the
AFC is a clusterfuck.
It's a clusterfuck, and that brings me to the question I wanted to ask you prior to the podcast. Is it fair to say, at this point, that, and I would say by a wide margin, that the AFC is better than the NFC?
You know what? I'm gonna say yes, because there are more competitive teams that are trying to get into the playoffs right now.
Mm-hmm.
With the the Steelers are on the outs, but the Steelers are still a pretty good team. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think the Titans are that great of a team.
Titans are on a 4-game winning streak, though.
They fucking are? What?
They are on a winning streak. They have the longest winning streak. They actually have the longest winning streak right now, active winning streak.
Active winning streak. Okay. The Titans have unleashed Derrick Henry and are actually good. Like, we expected them. I wish, Chris, I'm so close. We were so close to my AFC South prediction getting right.
Yeah.
But
Colts face the Titans. The Colts
had to ruin it.
Yeah. If the matchups were different, then maybe we would have gone 3. But the Colts and Titans facing each other kills it.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't have because of Chiefs and Chargers.
Yeah, that's true. The Chargers are too good.
Yeah, Chargers are too good. And the NFC, I think the current I think the current NFC teams that are still in the playoffs or that are currently in the playoffs are all really good. The Saints, Rams, Bears, Cowboys, and Seahawks are definitely all there. But the two that are trying to compete for the 6th spot, the Vikings and the Eagles,
they remind me of the Bills.
What?
They remind me of the Bills, kind of.
Yeah, they're not as good as the current AFC with the Colts and Steelers, and who else is currently like the number 6? I think that might be the Colts.
Yeah, at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment, but like the Colts and Steelers and like Ravens, who haven't clinched a playoff berth yet, are all so much better than the Vikings and Eagles, and maybe even the Seahawks. Like the Ravens are better than the Seahawks.
Yeah,
the Seahawks are in the playoffs for sure, and the Ravens aren't yet. So, yeah, right. I can agree with you. At least the current playoff teams are better. AFC is better than the NFC. And I would even say like the worst teams are like in the NFC this year, other than the Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is that like you have such an interesting group. Like the Eagles and Vikings, I compare them to the Bills. They're good teams. They have compelling storylines, but they're not even at the level that is right now of all the teams that are trying to compete for the playoff spot right now. And it just seems like it's been the Patriots conference for so long, and we're kind of with the Patriots kind of coming down to earth this season, and they're very much still in the mix for the Super Bowl this year.
They always are.
The fact is that you have just such strong talent throughout the entire AFC. It seems like that has just grown stronger this year, and I mean, there was even teams, we had the Jaguars who we thought that had the talent to go make a championship run. Didn't happen this year, but you never know. Maybe 1 or 2 changes in the offseason, and then boom, they're right back into it. I think a lot of these AFC teams that currently have the teams that these teams have right now, like the players that they have on the teams, I think are going to be sticking around for a few years, and it's going to be fascinating to see this AFC continue to grow and get better. The Browns, even, I mean, look at them. They started to make a run near the end here. They're currently on a winning streak. You know that so good things could happen to them. I think Denver with better coaching staff could be in the mix next year. So you
Denver
have
has such good talent, but they're just not living up to it.
right and like I mean you look at the NFC. What is a more disappointing division than the NFC South?
Yeah, really. Like the Saints did amazing, but the Panthers 7-game losing streak.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers started that Fitz magic, and then
blew it.
Went back to Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
And then Jameis Winston is a dud and shouldn't be a starter anymore. Then Matt Ryan and the Falcons. Look at all that offensive talent. Look at all of those players. And then you look at their 6-9 record, and you laugh because it's a sex joke, but then you also laugh because it's not living up to their potential.
Well, I mean, it's not even the offense has underperformed. The defense, I mean, they've had some bad luck this year overall with the injuries and stuff, but still, it's just the team completely underperformed, and then like I just look at the teams that are currently placed third and fourth in the NFC, and then I look at the group of teams that are third and fourth in the AFC, and I see more talented teams in the AFC right now than in the NFC. It's just not. They're not the level as we initially thought that they were. I think going into the season,
complete change from last year.
Yeah, and it's appreciative.
Last year, where the Bills made the playoffs in the AFC.
Yeah, good upgrade. Good upgrade AFC. I appreciate it. So yeah, it's an interesting conversation to have. But
so we don't spend too much time.
Yeah.
What are the most likely playoff scenarios in your opinion?
Well, okay, so I have the potential playoff matchups lined up here.
I don't want to hear like Tennessee first overall stuff.
No, I'm not even going to talk about number 1, number 2. I want to just talk about Wild Card Weekend right now.
Okay.
Right now, the easiest thing to break down is the NFC 5-4 game.
Yep.
With the Cowboys having clinched the 4 seed, it's just going to be between the Seahawks and the Vikings at this point. And if Seattle wins, then it's Seahawks or Cowboys.
Yep.
If they lose, but the Vikings also lose, it'll be Seahawks or Cowboys.
If they lose, Vikings win, the Vikings will be
your 4 seed, your 5 seed rather, and the Vikings will go to Dallas. Then you have the 6-3 for the NFC,
which will be probably the Bears, but could be Bears or Rams.
So there's 5 scenarios in all. You have Eagles at Bears, which essentially will happen if the Bears, Rams, and Eagles all win.
Yep.
Vikings at Bears would be if both the Vikings and Seahawks win, and the Bears and Rams both win,
or like if Bears Rams win and Eagles lose.
Correct.
Whatever combination.
Right. And then Seahawks at Bears could happen still if both Chicago.
If Vikings win and Seahawks lose.
Yes, Chicago. If Chicago or Seattle, it would take Chicago and Seattle losing, which means the Vikings would beat the Bears. And then the Vikings at Rams will happen if the Rams, Vikings, and Eagles all lose their respective games, which could happen. I think could happen. Vikings at Rams. And then if the Eagles win and both the Rams and Vikings lose, that would be the 6-3. And then we move on to the AFC, where you have the 5-4, and you have the Chargers sitting at the 5 seed, or the Chiefs. It could be either or. The Chargers clinch the 5 seed if Kansas City wins and Chargers lose. Or Chargers lose, rather. And then the Chiefs are the 5 seed if Chargers win and Kansas City loses. So below are the number 4 seed scenarios. So we have the at Ravens. It could be Chargers/Chiefs at Ravens. And the Ravens would be the 4 seed if Baltimore, Houston, and New England win, or Baltimore and Pittsburgh lose. The Steelers would be the 4 seed if the simple scenario, Pittsburgh wins and Baltimore loses. The Pittsburgh would be, no matter what, the worst division winner. Patriots would be the 4 seed if Baltimore and Houston win and Patriots lose, or Baltimore and Tennessee wins and New England and Houston loses. The Colts would be the 4 seed if Baltimore and the Colts win and Houston loses. And then the Titans would be the 4 seed if Baltimore, New England, and Tennessee win and Houston loses. By the way, we lost Go Cubs, so I'm kind of just stalling here reading off my scenarios. Just kind of behind the scenes look right now. But anyways, AFC, the 6 at 3, the Colts and Texans, I think is going to be the most likely matchup, but that would be if New England, Houston, and Indianapolis win, and either Kansas City or the Chargers win. As long as one of them wins, that's fine. But if both Kansas City and the Chargers lose, and Patriots, Houston, and Indianapolis all win, it'll be Colts at Chiefs. The Chiefs would be the 3rd seed in that scenario. If Baltimore, Houston, and Indianapolis win and New England loses, it'll be Colts at Ravens. And it'll be Colts at Patriots if Houston and Indianapolis wins and Baltimore and New England loses. The tie-in scenarios are basically the same thing, only if you replace Indianapolis in all those scenarios, you go with Tennessee. And there's not really much other difference. And then the only other different scenario here would be if, let's say, the Texans were out, that they were that they ended up losing to the Jaguars somehow, and they were the 6th seed. What would that scenario be? Who could they play? They could play the Ravens, which would be if Baltimore, New England wins and Houston loses. Bottom line, then that would get them to the 3 seed. Texans at Colts. If Indianapolis wins and Baltimore and Houston both lose, that would be Texans at Colts. Texans at Titans could be a thing. If New England and Tennessee win and Baltimore and Houston loses, or Baltimore, Tennessee wins and New England and Houston loses. And last but not least, the Texans at Patriots. Baltimore and Indianapolis would have to win for that scenario to happen, and New England and Houston would both have to lose. So that's all your playoff scenarios. That's every single one of your playoffs, and that's not counting, of course, the ties. I'm going to keep on talking here and hoping Go Cubs comes back, or at least gives me some sort of signal as to how to move forward here. But in the meantime, I think we're having Discord issues beyond our control, it looks like. So we'll get to that in a second. All right. So you know what? We'll be right back with the rest of the podcast when Discord is deciding to actually work. So be right back. Okay, we're back. Discord is not working, so I have Go Cubs on my cell phone. So
hello, my audio sounds even worse. I have to deal with that.
We're gonna see how long this takes, because we got we'll see. Maybe if we'll keep on trying Discord while we do this, but we want to move the podcast along a little bit. Before you left, you asked me what was the most likely playoff scenarios, and if I had to guess right now, I would say Seahawks at Cowboys is a virtual lock, barring some sort of absolute catastrophe for the Seahawks.
Yep.
And I think for the 6 at 3, I'm gonna say Eagles at Bears, just because I think that the Bears.
I would have to agree with you.
Because I feel like the Bears, they're like at a level of that they want the 2 seed, and I don't think that they're gonna sit starters. And the fact that the games are on at the same time as the Rams, that they're gonna at least try. I don't think the Rams will end up losing to the Niners, and I think that's why I'm comfortable with that.
But just in case.
Yeah, I think I think that's basically Eagles and Bears at this point.
Yeah.
As for the 5
on the AFC side.
Yeah, AFC. I'm leaning towards. Most likely, I think it's gonna be Chargers at Ravens.
Okay, with Ravens being 4.
Yeah, I think I think that's gonna be the most likely, because I think Houston's gonna win. I think the Patriots are probably gonna win, and I do feel enough confidence where I think Baltimore is gonna win that game. So that I think is most likely. And then the 6 at 3, I think you're gonna have an AFC South matchup. And my guess is going to be Colts at Texans.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Now, if I had to say what I'd like to see happen, would be there's one game scenario where, like, basically the NFC is what I'd want it to be, would be the Eagles, Bears, Seahawks, Cowboys. And then I think for the NFC, or the AFC rather, I would like to see the Jaguars pull an upset over the Texans, and then the Colts win, and then that way we have Chargers at Colts for one game, and then Texans at Ravens for the other. And reason I want this to happen, well, one, because it's just I don't love seeing divisional matchups as playoff games. I don't know why. It's just I like seeing new teams face each other. But Texans at Ravens would be a battle of Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson, and that would channel the AFC rivalry of Clemson, Louisville. It'd be the first time the two matchups come, like, or two quarterbacks playing against each other again. It would be a lot of fun. It would be really cool. So that's how I would see it. What about did you basically agree with my playoff scenario? Or do you have another one that you think could be more likely?
In terms of the most likely ones, I definitely say you're correct. Where Kansas City and New England get the buys. Houston's number 3, Baltimore's number 4, with Chargers and Colts being the wild card.
Yeah. What would you like to see happen?
What?
Well, go ahead. Finish your thought first.
Well, what I would like. Well, I said the Colts over Titans mainly just because the Titans Mariota might not be playing.
Mm-hmm.
Or will at least be playing limited. What I would like to see is the Jets upset the Patriots, but that's probably not going to happen. So that Houston gets a bye.
Right.
And then the Colts face the Patriots, get a little Deflategate revenge.
I like it.
And then that would be a Chargers Ravens rematch too.
Yeah, that would keep the Chargers with the Ravens. Okay.
Chargers Ravens just seems likely at this point.
Yeah.
But as long as the Steelers aren't involved, I'm fine with whatever happens.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah, that's fair. And the Steelers being out of it, I think that I would be satisfied with having all those teams in the playoffs. Did you decide whether or not you would prefer the Eagles to face the Bears or the Vikings to face the Bears?
I have not. I legitimately feel like the Eagles are a better team than the Vikings right now.
Right.
Or at least have had more momentum. It's possible that the Vikings can still do well, but the most recently they've been proving themselves to do well have been against bad teams.
Right.
So, I would much rather watch face the Vikings.
Right.
But I would rather beat the Vikings this week.
Yeah,
like no matter what, even if the Rams end up winning and the win or loss doesn't matter for the Bears, I would still rather have the Bears win.
Yeah, and I think that the thing about the Vikings is that, and again, we talked about this over text, it's like, it's so difficult because you have weird things happen when you play the same team 2 weeks in a row, or 2 out of the 2 times in 3 weeks, that weird shit happens, especially with, like, trying to strategize for those teams. It's kind of similar, and especially, you don't want to get too comfortable if you are the winner of that matchup, because you start to get complacent in, like, okay, well, this is what we did last time, so let's just do it again, and then
they do something different, and then it fucks you up.
Yeah, and it blows up in your face.
Maybe the Eagles would be better in that sense, and maybe this Foles magic isn't forever. I don't know.
And
keep Foles is good.
Yeah, keep in mind that the Eagles are playing a lot of not. I mean, Texans are a good defense, but they were beat up in that game, and like the week before was the Rams, and that was not really a strong defense to face, and so that's been your sample size to this point. They'll play the Redskins, they'll probably beat the Redskins, but I do think that the Bears are a different animal, so I think that would be at least my argument.
Right, Chris. A bear is a different animal than a ram.
You know what I mean. So.
Sorry, I couldn't let that one pass out.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just think that the Bears are gonna do. I think they'll do well with both opponents. I just think that it would be less weird to face the Eagles than to face the same team twice in a week.
With that being said, I think I would rather face the Eagles.
Yeah.
That is probably shut up one of my friends who's an Eagles fan.
Right.
He needs to stop talking sometimes.
Right.
If you're for some reason listening to this, he'll know who he is. You're great. Chill out, maybe a little bit.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see how it ends up playing out, but it's gonna be a hectic Sunday because we say, like, oh yeah, that's definitely not gonna happen, and shit can hit the fan, and we'll end up getting Steelers Titans in the playoffs, and gonna be.
No, don't say those words.
It has happened though. We had the Titans and Bills last year come in when we thought it was Chargers or Ravens. I know, it's painful. I know. But anyways, let's go to our picks. Let's do the picks. And let's lock these in once and for all. So for our regular season record, going into our final pick of the regular season, I'm currently sitting at 143.94 and 52 points. You're sitting at 142.95, sitting at 50 points. I went 12-4 this week. You went 11-5.
Okay.
What pushed over the edge, I guess, would be the Eagles-Texans matchup. Ended up going in the Eagles' favor. The Falcons-Panthers was the Falcons winning, but the Seahawks was the pick that kept you in this competition a little bit tighter.
I really needed that.
Yeah. The chaos were on our side this past week, and we'll see what happens this week from here on out. With that being said, and going into the last stretch of the team records, of course, our best teams are still the Rams, sitting at 13-2.
Okay.
Then the worst team for both of us, for you, it is the Jaguars still at 4-11.
Yeah, because I picked them way too much.
Right,
I
and
had way too much faith in them.
And then you picked against them this week, and they won. So.
Well, yeah, I don't feel bad. They put Bortles back in, so of course they won.
You're right. Exactly. And the Steelers are sitting at 4-10 for me. And so I have to be better at picking the Steelers games, I guess, which maybe might prove a good thing going into this week, because I know who I'm picking in their game, and it might end up resulting in the opposite result, which is what I kind of want. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Let's start out though with the Dolphins at the Bills. We're gonna start with a lot of meaningless matchups here. The Dolphins are heading into the offseason not knowing if Adam Gase is gonna keep his job. Mike Tannenbaum might be under. What did you say?
Adam Gase the butthole.
He's okay. Mike Tannenbaum is probably on the chopping block as well. The Bills, meanwhile, I think they're gonna keep Sean McVay for another year. I don't know about Brendan Bean though. He might be on the hot seat as well. So a lot of questions going into the offseason for both of these franchises in the direction. And while Bills may have their starting quarterback in Josh Allen right now, he's had a pretty decent finish to the year. The Dolphins might be moving on from Ryan Tannehill, so we'll see what happens there. But what do you want? What do you think is gonna win this game, Dolphins or Bills?
This was the hardest decision of the week.
Okay.
I'm not even joking.
Well, because there's just so little interest in this game, though.
Right. I honestly think that the momentum downwards from losing to Jacksonville might affect the Dolphins a lot. And the Bills have shown that they can kind of do things, especially when it comes to when it comes to Josh Allen in particular. I originally had the Dolphins. I may go with the Bills in this one though.
Yeah, I'm gonna defer. I'm gonna go Dolphins. Cause yeah, I think the air was let out of the balloon for the Dolphins this past week. I think that the Dolphins, they've been a better team than the Bills. I think, and
yeah.
I have to go with them in this instance. So I'll go on that front. Next up, the Lions will be going to Green Bay to take on the Packers. The Packers, they're really playing for pride at this point. Aaron Rodgers specifically is playing for pride and just to get to at least 7 wins. The Lions, after a dreadful year for Matt Patricia, who has not coached well, is hoping to finish things off on a high note. The interesting offseasons, especially with the Packers and their head coaching search going into it. But what will be the winner of this final game for these two teams?
There was something I read earlier today. I think Schefter either tweeted it or retweeted it about Matt Patricia's punctuality, or a quote he had about punctuality, and basically amounted to Matt Patricia doesn't show up on time to his own team meetings.
Oh.
And that's about as much. Oof is a good descriptor of how I feel towards the Lions this season. Matthew Stafford's worst year.
Yep.
Currently 5-10. Only really notable win was a Patriots upset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bad team.
Yeah.
And it's not it is a team that is terrible, that made a poor head coaching decision in the NFC North, and it's not the Bears. The Lions are not going to win this game.
You go Pack?
I'm gonna go Pack. Especially at home, Aaron Rodgers has enough to win this.
Yeah, I'm going Packers as well. I think that they're just in a better spot right now. I think they're trying to look up, trying to make the best out of a bad situation, and with Aaron Rodgers at the forefront, I think he'll be good. So I'm gonna go Packers as well. Next up, the Texans are hosting the Jaguars in a game that the Texans need to win. If they don't win this game, they lose the AFC South to either the Colts or Titans. So this is a big win for them. Say again?
Unless they tie.
Unless they tie, yes, they could. They'll still clinch it, but most likely that won't happen. So what do you think is going to happen in this game?
I think that the Texans, especially at home, are going to be able to do enough against an abysmal Jacksonville team. Jacksonville's still going to try to play spoiler. And Blake Bortles may make one last-ditch attempt to keep his job, but it's not going to be enough, and I think the Texans will put this away.
Yeah, the Jaguars have an interesting offseason. Probably will part ways with Bortles. Probably will have to find a quarterback in the draft or somewhere else.
Or trade.
Yeah, trade for Joe Flacco.
Trade for Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
Right.
Or this is Nick Foles' landing spot.
Right. I'm gonna go Texans in this one, and I'll be interested to see what the Jaguars do on Monday. See if they maybe make a coaching change or GM change even, because there's a lot of questions right now about the team's leadership. Yeah, the decisions that have been made. A lot of questions about them. Jets at Patriots. The Patriots need this one to keep the 2 seed, and they definitely need it to try to get to the 1 seed. What do you think is going to happen for this one?
I think that the Jets don't stand a chance at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Patriots are going to win this. The Patriots have been doing well recently of, like, saving a lot of their key players to be, like, totally healthy in the postseason, i.e. James White. So they're but that being said, they want to show that they're not dead yet.
Right.
And they're not. They're definitely not.
They're not.
And I would be foolish to say that they are. As much as I want to believe it, they're not. And I think they'll win pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think. Oh, hold on a second. I think is Discord back and working? Yeah, Discord is back and working. So we want to transition so we have better quality right now.
Yes, let's do that.
All right, so we're gonna take a quick breather here. We'll be right back after these messages from a quick fade. All right, so we're good. Go Cubs could be heard clearly again.
I have a voice again.
In case you guys couldn't understand him, which I'm pretty sure you could, but just in case, his picks are the Bills, Packers, Texans, and Patriots to this point.
Yep.
And same with me, except the Dolphins are my pick, not the Bills. But just to cap off that game with the Patriots and Jets, the Jets will most likely fire Todd Bowles. There are some rumors that Jim Harbaugh could be in contention for that job, and potentially Mike McCarthy. There's a few names out there circulating for the Jets, but it looks like they want to make a splash hire, which always worries me. But we'll see what happens with that. But that's the storyline going into the Jets offseason right there. Yeah. Next up, the Panthers are going to New Orleans to take on the Saints. And the Saints...
I don't even fucking know the name of the guy who's starting for the Panthers.
Yeah, his name is Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen. A lot of Allens in football.
Not a lot of Allens. And there's going to be 2 Josh Allens in the NFL next year.
You're right. Holy shit.
It's gonna get bad. It's gonna get rough.
What position does the other Josh Allen play?
The linebacker. So.
Linebacker. Okay.
So Josh Allen could sack Josh Allen.
A few years ago.
What was that again?
Brandon Marshall.
Oh yeah. Brandon Marshall. Yeah, that's a linebacker wide receiver combo.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Saints are they're the number 1 seed. They haven't really talked about whether or not they're going to bench starters or not, so they could probably be playing this game.
I say Drew Brees definitely plays so that he can win the MVP.
Yeah,
try to win the MVP.
Try to catch up into that. But the Panthers are going to try this week. This is one of those, like I said earlier, the 2 and 3 week things where this could turn on the Panthers, or turn on the Saints rather. Since the Saints win the first matchup, maybe they end up losing this matchup.
No, but that's not going to. The Panthers have lost 7 games in a row After starting 6-2. 6-2. And lost the last 7. Bad end to the season for them. Unfortunate, especially since they had Cam Newton had, at least to start the year, had a fantastic start to the year.
Right.
He it's only his second season, but has had a career season.
Right.
One of the best running backs in the league. But yeah, the Saints continue to show their dominance. I don't think the Saints are going to do anything fancy. Save their stuff for the postseason in 2 weeks, but they'll enjoy their nice week off, I think, with a victory.
Yeah, I think that they're going to win this game, the Saints. It's just... I just think that the fact that Kyle Allen's going to be the starter and not Cam Newton, and it's in the Metrodome, or not the Metrodome, the Superdome, and it's just a harder environment to win in, and it's gonna be for the Saints. This is gonna be their time to at least celebrate and have a little fun prior to getting serious in the playoffs. So I think they take care of business. Panthers, meanwhile, I really hope the new owner does not fire Ron Rivera. That has been rumored a little bit.
Jesus, no. Keep Rivera. This was a down year. Weird shit happened. I don't know what happened. Yeah. But I think combination Ron Rivera and Norv Turner is still a positive thing for going into the future.
Yep.
Panthers.
I think that the Panthers should they need to keep. They don't need to keep everyone, but they need to keep Rivera. I think he's just been a great coach. I don't think you could get rid of him right now. Next up, the Cowboys, who have locked up the 4 seed, go to New York to take on the Giants. Giants, of course, go into the offseason probably bombarded with the idea that they probably should have taken a quarterback instead of Saquon Barkley in the draft last year. And that now the whole offseason is going to be dedicated to them talking about the quarterback. No idea what they're fucking going to do at this point. Everything's up in the air.
I do know that quarterback prospect just announced he was going to stay at Oregon for another year, Justin Herbert.
Yeah, he's out. That's gonna, and it's a damper again on the Giants. It's gonna be a tough year to get a quarterback.
Yeah, who keep winning, so ruining their chances even more.
Right. Well, this is I don't know what the Giants are doing. I don't know what they're gonna do to make it better, and it's gonna be an interesting offseason to see what kind of way they try to salvage this. I like Saquon Barkley a lot. I'm very much on the team
He is the Barry Sanders of this era, in which he is one of the most elite players.
Yeah,
like just across the sport, but is on such a bad team.
Yeah, I'm trying to see a way where they can make it better, and I'm not too sure what the path is yet. But we'll see. We'll see what they pave out. Meanwhile, Cowboys, like we said, locked up the 4 seed, looking good for the playoffs, and Jerry Jones confirmed that he's going to rest a few starters. I don't know about how many starters, but he's going to probably rest a few. So what do you think is going to happen in this game?
In the theme of the Giants fucking things up for themselves, and with the Cowboys resting some starters and probably not really caring how much this game goes, I'm going to make this my team chaos and have the Giants win.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's also in New York. That may be something.
Maybe the home field advantage has been nothing to them, except for the Bears win, I guess. Sorry, open wounds.
Yeah, if Chris, we win that game, and we win this week, we get first round bye. So what the fuck ever.
So sorry. I guess I'll just pick the Cowboys for now. I'll try. We'll defer and just make things more interesting. I don't know how many times we're gonna end up deferring here, so might as well just see how much we can do just to make this more interesting going into this week. But I do think the Cowboys are gonna pull out the victory because the Giants they're a mess, and they keep on saying, "Oh, Eli Manning, we should just keep on starting him. It's productive." Yep. So Cowboys. Next up, the Falcons are going to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers, and what do you think's gonna happen in this one? It's a battle between two teams that had hope early in the year, and then they just died a horrible death near the end.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, Tampa Bay, get your shit together.
Yeah.
I think that the lack of shit that Tampa Bay currently has together is not going to be enough to take down the Falcons. So I'm going to go with the Falcons here.
The thing is, I had a bold prediction earlier in the season where I said the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep, I know where this is going.
Will be last place.
Play coy about it.
Will be last place, and not only that, but if the Bucs win this game and the Panthers lose, the Panthers, who I thought was going to be the team that would be the last place team, would be the last place team, and the Buccaneers will be in third place.
You are correct.
And I'm going to go Buccaneers Team Chaos in the hopes that this all comes together in the end here.
I will be so sad if that happens. Because the glory that my Panthers were promised at the start of the year by me, and then partway through the season, like I was like, okay, wild card spot, pretty good. I'll take it. And then they just shit the bed for seven games straight, except for Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, it's rough, and I cannot believe with the season the Falcons have that they're locked in for the 2 seed at the number 2 spot at this point.
Are they? What?
If
the Panthers win,
the Panthers win, they could be the 2 spot, but the Falcons. There's a chance that even if the Falcons lose this game to the Bucs, that they could be the 2 spot if the Panthers lose to the Saints.
Yeah, which they will.
So we'll see what happens. Next up, this is okay. So now let's start doing some of the bigger games, the ones that really matter here.
The ones that they all moved to the 3:00 slot.
Right. And we will start with the game of the AFC North. The Ravens are hosting the Brownies. And the Baker Mayfield has a chance to enact revenge on a Baltimore team that on the Ravens who betrayed Cleveland all those years ago. And Baker Mayfield has a shot to sweep the Ravens in this game. But of course, they played Joe Flacco the first time. Now they have to face Lamar Jackson and a team that has been steadily improving as the season has gone along. It's going to be a great game, potentially game of the week material.
This is a huge game for both teams.
Yeah. So
why?
What do you think?
Because the Ravens win, and they get to host a playoff game. They win the division and probably knock the Steelers out.
Yes.
Big deal for the Ravens. Big deal for the Browns, because if they win, they have a winning season.
Damn right.
Yeah. It could go either way, but and I want to do like a small thing at the end. But like relating to this, but I legitimately think that the Ravens have a shot to make it to the Super Bowl. And I'm not exaggerating.
No, I would. Yeah, I agree with you. I would agree.
So with that being said, I'm going Ravens.
Yeah, this was a really tempting Team Chaos for me to take. But I do think though, with how good this Ravens team has been as of late, and I know that the Browns have been great as of late as well. The Browns have been winning more against bad teams, and the Ravens have been playing really close with the best of the best. And I think that's what's going to push them over the edge here. So I like the Ravens. Their defense is great. Lamar Jackson's been great, and it's going to be a hell of a game. I think this is going to be the best game. I wish they put it on Sunday Night Football, but I understand why they did Colts Titans. It makes the most sense.
Yeah, it makes more sense.
Yeah, so going Ravens.
Maybe I'll get to watch both of them, because the Bears will be on Fox and the Ravens will be on CBS for me.
Yeah. There's no blackout this week. Everyone is going to get yeah. So everyone who watches football as hardcore as we do, you will have football on all facets. You'll have 2 games at 1 p.m. and 2 games at 4 p.m. No matter what.
I do Cleveland and Baltimore for the late game, so that's fun.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a blackout this week, so enjoy the fuck out of it.
You get Cincinnati, Pittsburgh.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
Why is that the main game over?
It's not. Your area just does.
What the? Why? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, maybe because. No, that does not make any sense. Because maybe they want us to watch Philadelphia, Washington instead. That's Garbo. That's Garbo right there.
Yeah,
maybe because maybe New York fan. Maybe there's more Pittsburgh fans in New York. I don't fucking know. There's reasons.
You get Philadelphia, Washington in the late on Fox though.
I'm okay with that. I would watch that. We'll see.
Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. That just sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, fuck, man. I was like looking forward to that too. I was like, oh, maybe we'll get Cleveland Baltimore. Fuck.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Midwest Super Dream.
The what is the where are we? I'm forgetting. Who am I? No.
Who am I? We just did Ravens Browns.
Okay, next up the Raiders. Nice win for your final game in Oakland, most likely. You may play in San Francisco at AT&T Park. You may be playing in San Antonio. You may be playing in my high school football field. You know, you just gotta find a place to play somewhere. That's the story of their offseason right now. And
nothing, not the fact that they have 3 first-round draft picks. Where they're playing is going to be the most interesting thing that happens to them.
It really is, though. Like that's
it is an interesting thing.
Yeah,
but them as a competitive football team is not going to be interesting for them. Kansas City is going to mop the floor with these guys to lock up the first overall seed.
Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs as well. And it will be interesting to see how the Chiefs need to respond to back-to-back losses for the first time this year. I think they do. They take care of business though, and they will take the number 1 seed away from the Patriots for the first time since 2015. Next up, the Bears. The Bears. They're going to Minnesota. Vikings.
To take on the Vikings.
Is it? Why are you repeating things?
I'm trying to say it like at the same time.
You're freaking me out.
Bears travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings in a game that will basically decide whether or not the Vikings make the playoffs.
Exactly.
It's a huge game for the Vikings because if they lose, they're most likely out given their opponent, or given their biggest competition's opponent right now. Yeah. Vikings need to win this game, but I don't think it's going to happen. The Vikings did do 2 games pretty well against was it the 49ers ago?
It was the last 2 weeks. It's been Dolphins and Lions.
Okay, yeah. So both teams not that great. Mm-hmm. But the Vikings looked great against those 2 teams. Mm-hmm. The Bears are so much better of a team. The Bears were able to take him down once, and I think with the drive of Chicago, they're going to be able to do it again.
Yeah, I really want. This was a tempting pick for me with the Vikings, there, but I'm gonna go with the Bears just because I think that they have something to play for this week. They have the number 2 in hand. Potentially, and I think that is going to be enough to...
I have officially picked the Bears every game this season.
Yeah.
And you were unable to stop me.
I don't know why I would stop you. I don't know why. It's not like you'll guarantee the Bears every single time.
No, and I'm not doing that this week. I haven't done my guarantee yet.
Nah.
What did I say my guarantee was going to be? I don't know. We'll find out. Let's keep going.
I mean that's a great game to guarantee potentially. If you can,
I'm not going to do it.
What about if you want to go back for a second? You want to guarantee the Ravens?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to. Chris, listen. I need to catch up with you. I can't be too ballsy. That's my guarantee.
I can. I understand though. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Bengals are a bad team, and Marvin Lewis is probably gonna end up returning again. Because I have not heard anything about his job status down the stretch. Although unlike last time, where it seemed like the Bengals winning near the end, or winning a bunch of games near the end of the season, was kind of like that was the team's ability to get to say like, oh hey, we could keep Marvin Lewis because we won down the stretch against bad football teams, of course. But okay, but this time they take on the Steelers. Could the Bengals pull a Tyler Boyd again and knock off the Steelers in this one, or will the Steelers win this game?
The Steelers are going to be in control of their own destiny. No, they're not, because Baltimore's going to win. The Steelers need to hope a lot, but they are still in control, roughly, of their own destiny, and that starts with beating the Bengals. I think they're going to do it just fine.
Yeah, I'm going Steelers as well. And yeah, the Bengals this time. There's no Andy Dalton to save you this time. All you have is Driscoll, and it's in Pittsburgh. Not happening. Next up, the Eagles go to Washington, taking on the Redskins. Now, the Washington was eliminated last week. A lot of injuries to deal with. Probably a new quarterback to name for the Redskins. They're going to need to probably search for one because Alex Smith is injured. Might be out for a little while.
Yep.
We'll see. Maybe he'll be back next year. But it's a tough situation to be in.
It was a bad injury.
It was a bad injury, and with Jay Gruden, I do think Jay Gruden's a nice coach, and I don't know if they're gonna get rid of him anytime soon. I think the biggest, if I had to point to anything with the Washington Redskins outside of their name, of course, it's it's gonna be their general manager in that department. The personnel they haven't really done a great job with personnel in recent times, and I think they need to make a change there at some point soon. But now with the Eagles, they win this game and they become the biggest Chicago fans out there for at least the time being, and hope that the Bears
for at least a week until they face the Bears.
Right, exactly. And then the Bears hope the Bears beat the Vikings to get in. What do you think is going to happen in this one?
I think that the Eagles are going to do just that. Control their destiny, defeat the Redskins.
Yep.
I would like to lock this one, but that's too easy.
Yeah, I mean, I would allow you. I would allow you if you want.
Are you sure?
If you, let me see what other one you could come up with, and then we'll see what happens.
Can I go back and lock no, not the Texans. That's too easy too.
That one I would not allow you.
Yeah.
The only reason why I would say Redskins is because they're 7-8 and they kind of play close with the Titans.
Yeah.
But
not really.
we'll see. Let's keep going for now. We'll come back to that.
Okay. All right.
The Niners, who have
you skipped one.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Chargers will be going to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Chargers, of course, coming off a tough loss against the Ravens, but they're on the road, so this is where they've been at their best. And the Broncos laid an egg essentially. They did not score points, but they were just god awful in Oakland. What are the chances that they win in this game? Low. So
low. Chargers are gonna zap their way into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they take care of business and add some cushion to the Chiefs keeping the number one seed and the Patriots not being a number one seed, rather. Right? Yeah, because that's the order: Chiefs, Chargers, Patriots.
Right.
So Chargers, add some cushion there. Make sure the Patriots really don't get the number one seed.
The Patriots feel so irrelevant this year, but that's going to change with the postseason hits, and it makes me sad.
Yeah. So Chargers, I'm going to go with them as well. Next up, now we'll go to the Niners. The Niners will be heading to Los Angeles, taking on the Rams. The Niners were on a 2-game win streak going into the Bears game, and they played very tightly.
They're playing things so close.
They're tight with the Bears.
They are.
And then the Rams, who the Bears beat. This is a tough game for the Rams. And
it is, honestly.
And they need to win this game to hold on to their bye. And if they can't and the Bears win, they'll be playing next weekend
against potentially their dreaded enemies, the Eagles.
Exactly.
Yeah, go from top of the league to out in the first round of the playoffs. Jesus Christ.
Maybe we'll see that.
Maybe, yeah. It would take a lot for that to happen, but yeah. I think at home found their rhythm against a bad team, against another close playing team but not great team. Sean McVay just have some more variance, I think.
Yeah.
In his planning, few defensive players need to step up, and then I think the Rams will be just fine. So I'm gonna go with Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles seems like they're gonna win this game. I'm not too sure though. Another tempting team chaos for me, considering how well the Niners have played in terms of these close games with good opponents. And we'll see. I think that they have an interesting offseason ahead. What do they do with Nick Mullins, and if they trade him and keep Garoppolo, or even better, trade Garoppolo and keep Mullins. Oh, hell yeah.
That's asking too much, I think. Can I retroactively lock the Packers, or is that too much?
You can lock the Packers.
All right, I'll lock Packers.
Yeah, that's fair. Considering the Lions beat them earlier in the year, it's two bad teams facing each other. I'm okay with that.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rams in this one. I feel good about that. Next up, the Cardinals Seahawks. Last game of the 4:00 zone of the tough the playoff mattering opponents. Essentially, the Seahawks win. They lock up the 5 seed. They lose. They may still be the 5 seed, but they then could drop to the 6 seed if the Vikings prevail in the game against the Bears.
They're not going to lose this fucking game.
They shouldn't. I mean,
they shouldn't. Yeah. The Cardinals, dude. The Cardinals. They are going to be in the head coaching market too, I think.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Steve Wilkes was not a good coach. Didn't do very well. And one was trying to start I don't know if they're serious, but they're trying to start a rumor for Tony Romo to be the new head coach.
That's yeah, I have not heard any.
It's not going to happen, but they're just trying to start the rumor.
Yeah, there's no valid.
So if you guys hear something about Tony Romo being the new head coach of the Cardinals, look into that.
Yeah, I'm not. I would not trust that for the life of me.
So Seahawks are going to win.
Yeah, I think Seahawks are going to win too. And finally, the Sunday Night Football game. It's been a while since we've had a retroactive playoff game on Sunday Night Football in Week 17. But here we are, win and in for the Colts and the Titans. Whoever wins this game will most likely be heading to the 3 seed. But if shit hits the fan for the Texans, this could be for the AFC South Championship. So, yeah. What will happen in this game, Mr. GoCups?
I have not trusted the Titans on anything. All season.
Yep.
Because they've fucked us over when we thought they were good, fucked us over when they thought they were bad. 4-game winning streak because they have unleashed King Henry. But Andrew Luck is looking like a really good pick. The Colts are currently the playoff team. The Colts have beaten the Titans earlier in the year. And I think that the Colts have a better chance in the postseason than the Titans do. Especially with Marcus Mariota maybe not even playing or not playing at full strength. I'm going to go with the Colts.
The Titans are without Jarrell Casey, their best defensive player. He has been placed on IR. Marcus Mariota could play, but Blaine Gabbert has a shot at playing this week in his place. They've played kind of well for the last few weeks, obviously having the longest active winning streak. But the Colts are the much more talented team. They have the much better coach, and they got my choice for guarantee for this week.
I almost went there. I didn't have the guts.
The Colts are a much better team from top to bottom, and Andrew Luck has owned them for his entire career. I don't see that changing here. I like the Colts in this game. I would like to see them make the playoffs, and they got they have a good shot, I think, at causing a stir in the AFC playoff picture. I like it a lot, so I'm going Colts in this one. And with that being said, that is our final pick of the 2018 regular season.
Yes, it is. We deferred on
three.
With the Dolphins, Bills, the Buccaneers, Falcons, and what was the last one?
Cowboys, Giants.
Yeah. So 2 of those were our chaos,
and
then 1 was just mediocrity. So
right.
Yeah, this is going to come down to this week. I would need to beat you if I need to get all 3 to flat out win.
Right.
2 to 1 in my favor would tie it. As soon as you win 2, you win. Pick.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to the points, might get interesting. I think that's part of the reason why I guaranteed the Colts. I wanted this to kind of go down all the way to the end here, and we'll see if maybe there's a point difference when it's said and done.
Right, because just for example, if I get my chaos and you don't,
right,
or if you miss your lock or whatever reason, I could still catch up with points.
Yeah, so it's gonna be super duper tight, and most of it's gonna happen in the 1 o'clock or 8 o'clock frame. It's not the 4 o'clock. It will be completely calm because well, not really, because I'm gonna be losing my mind over the playoffs scenarios.
Yeah.
But the 4 o'clock frame will be our focus. We won't have to focus as much on the picks. Should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. You said that you wanted to do something near the end here.
There was just one thing that I wanted to say, and this may be a week too early, but I want to get the thought out before I forget it.
Yes.
I see 2 paths to the Super Bowl, and it just depends on which ideology or which side of the ball wins out this season.
Mm-hmm.
So I see 2 ideologies present. Offensive, so you get the Saints versus the Chiefs or Rams and Chargers. The combination of those 4 teams are in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Or the defensive side wins, and you get a Bears-Ravens Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think both honestly are equally possible.
Yeah.
Because both teams have shown, both of those defensive teams have shown that they can tear apart the offensive side of the ball. And they're going to be dangerous heading into the postseason, and have a shot.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that it's more likely that we see it being more of a mix than anything, because I think it does depend on the team. I feel like you've seen something like with the Chiefs, where they've been able to overcome defensive teams, where you've had Saints and the Rams, where I feel like they haven't as much been able to overcome defensive teams. I mean, well, Saints, I would say Saints have. The Rams have struggled against defensive teams, though.
Rams have struggled. Saints even struggled against the Cowboys. So.
Yes, yeah, no, it's happened.
Yeah.
So I think it may be 2 separate paths, but I think that they have a very good shot at mixing, though. I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry as it being like all offense or all defense.
That is my bold prediction to start the playoffs.
That it's going to be cut and dry.
Yeah,
Either way?
honestly, legitimately.
All right.
It's either going to be an all offensive playoff or an all defensive playoff.
Or you meaning Super Bowl though?
Super Bowl, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
But by extension, those are the teams that win throughout.
No, I get what you mean. The only issue is going to be that the defensive teams are the ones that are going to have to play more games.
Yeah.
So that's the only tough part. Unless of course the Rams lose and the Bears win this weekend.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that.
We'll see what happens. There's still a lot of football left to be played.
Yes, indeed. So yeah. Thank you all once again for watching. Next week we'll be breaking down 4 games, and all of which are all of our wild card predictions. We'll do one more batch of Super Bowl predictions. And that, I think that would really be it. So again,
yeah.
Thank you all, and we'll recap our predictions, and maybe we'll talk about a few of the teams that have been eliminated, so the big news stuff that's been happening. A lot of shit's about to happen in the next 7 days, so buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a wild fucking ride.
Gotta get a saddle and hold on.
Fucking hold on to your ass.
There could be 2 horse teams in the playoffs. Let's go.
It's true.
Count the Cowboys as a horse team.
Sure. It's the Cowboys and the horses. It's the Colts and Cowboys Super Bowl is where we're getting at.
No. I would hate that. That's disgusting.
Here's another one to leave you a nice taste in your mouth. Patriots Cowboys. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Be good to one another. Be kind to one another. And I'll see you guys next week for the wild card.
Say fuck you to a Cowboys fan.
Oh wow. Bye-bye.